supposedly. Sorry, I had everything queued up and everything froze. Okay. Okay, so if we can, to reduce the amount of lag, if we could all just turn off our screens if possible. And of course, I think everyone's muted, so that's good. That just reduces the amount of data that's going to flow through, and it should make everything flow a little better. Does anybody see a lot of lag at this point?
Okay, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, but there's an echo. Either you have it or somebody doesn't have it mute.
How about
now?
Yeah, that's better. You just had two audios going on at once.
Okay, so this is the one that I'm going to be talking.
Scott, there's still an echo. Somebody has two audios going.
How about this? Can everybody hear me?
Much better.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm communicating through this. This is my phone. I've got a computer set up over here so that I can see comments on the TV, but I'm going to try to avoid those. So if you can do me a favor, and those of you that are keeping up with the running chat, if there are any major issues or I need to stop and explain anything, somebody just turn your mic on and let me know, please. So first of all, thank you, to everybody for allowing me to do this. I'm very humbled to be able to lead this rehearsal, and honestly really intimidated because I know just this being a worldwide thing and the caliber of players that everybody is, it's really cool. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And also, as far as this exercise, Paradiddle Madness, it really wasn't my idea. Really, it came from my old college roommate, Danny Wells, who is also a snare drummer in the Old Guard. But the idea that he conveyed to me was Paradiddle Madness ended up being something a little bit different than he thought he was telling me, but it was something that I thought that he was saying. So that just kind of shows you, like, some things can get lost in translation, and serendipitously it can end up being a really cool thing. So I don't take credit for it. He doesn't take credit for it. It's kind of just this thing. So I know we only have 30 minutes today. We're definitely not going to get through the whole thing. But I'm just going to give you some basic ideas about how I think about it and run us through a few patterns. And if you want individual breakdowns that you can go back and watch over and over again or play along with, it's on my YouTube channel, Scott Jamison. So I think there's about 20 videos that just kind of detail every step of this thing. So basically, Paradiddle Madness, most of it is what's called a 4-2-1 grid. And that means that if you play 4 of a particular variation, you'll play 4 of a certain variation of a rudiment. And then you'll go through all of the variations. and then you would play 2 of each rudiment with all the variations twice, and then 1 variation of the rudiment, sorry, all the variations, one count of every variation 4 times. So that's what the first 3 pages of Paradiddle Madness is just going through the different accent variations that you can have for a paradiddle, doing it 4 times in a row, then doing it 2 times in a row, and then doing it 1 time per variation. And then there's a tag that I wrote at the end. So that's just kind of an explanation about a 4-2-1. In a triplet sense, like with the flam accent, a 4-2-1 could be like this. Right, so if you play 4 of the rudiment every variation, you only play it once. If you play 2 of the rudiment every variation, you play it twice. And then if you play 1 count of the rudiment with every variation, then you play it 4 times. So that's how the 4-2-1s work. So now that we kind of know the structure of the exercise, it's important to know kind of at least the pet peeve that I have with it is if I have to make like 1 statement to rudimental drummers around the world, and if I just had to do like 1 thing to try to get across to people, would be that I think that the downstroke, in other words, coming from a high accent to a low height, is overplayed. I think sometimes we play too many downstrokes when a nice relaxed rebound stroke would suffice. So I think that we underplay our rebound strokes, and I think that we overplay our downstrokes. And so when I took this exercise and started working on it, I used that as an opportunity to really try to train my mind and my muscles to do what I think is the most efficient way to play it. So, and that's really what makes it difficult. You can downstroke everything in the exercise, but it's not going to be very easy to play, and it's not going to look very smooth either. And it's going to sound very like a computer playing it. So I'd first like to just take us through a few basic exercises to work out some of these stroke types. And it's going to go pretty slowly. But the important thing is that you really look and see if you're actually doing the stroke type that you are trying to do. So the first thing I want to do is just play 4 notes on each hand really slowly. So we'll just play quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've seen like professional level drummers try to play this, and they think that they're rebounding, when in fact, especially with the left hand, we have a tendency to hold it down and immediately bring it up. So it's not a rebound. We are kind of producing a fake rebound, if you will. So what you don't want is this, right, where you see that little wobble down low, or right, you want the stick to come up just as fast as you pushed it down, which should still be fast. Right? So let's do that again. And as you play it, don't just look at the stick up here, but also look down here while you're playing up here to make sure that you're not stopping the stick down low. And let's just start up like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So hopefully you've either discovered that you're not doing what you thought you were, or you're good to go and you're like, all right, great, I can do rebound strokes. So now that those were kind of the slow rebound strokes, what I would call kind of a float, where you have a certain amount of time and space that's pretty big and you're wanting to come up. So now let's do fast. So we'll do 2/8 notes, a quarter rest, 2/8 notes, a quarter rest. So it'll be 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 2 and. Okay. So let's all play that, and the same thing. You're trying to just make sure that you are completely rebounding every stroke that's in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 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 1 and 2. Okay, and that's a really good way to build your power on like double stroke rolls as well. So many people focus on the first note and its effect to the second note, or they're just trying to muscle in the second note to make sure that it's just as strong as the first. But sometimes when we do that, we hold that second stroke down, right? And when you get faster, that can't really apply. So your sound ends up going way down. So my philosophy is I always want to play things slow, how I'm going to play them fast. So if you want a powerful double stroke roll, then you need to rebound all the strokes. And after the second note, you should ensure that you're still getting a rebound coming off the second note. Okay, so that's rebound strokes. Down strokes. Let's just play 2 quarter notes and then 2 quarter rests. So it'll be right, left, 3, 4, right, left. Okay, play it with me. Right, left, 3, 4, right, left. So that's when you're playing a big note and you hold the stick down afterwards. And that's the one that everybody pretty much understands. And I think that's the most overplayed stroke in our art form, is unnecessary downstroke. So let's play that again. Just make sure you hold the stick down. But also, if you have problems controlling the height of unaccented notes, like you realize, man, I'm trying to get it to sound like this, but I can only get it to sound like this. Right, your taps are just real loud. We call those taps, the low notes. Then you probably have an issue where there's too much space in the hand when you're playing. So when you stop the hand, there's a lot of play in your fingers. So the stick, even though you're trying to downstroke, the stick will still rebound to like a medium height. So you just want to make sure with your downstroke that the stick stops down low and not up here if you don't want it up there. So let's do that downstroke again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so with the rebound strokes, we did like a slow rebound and then a fast rebound. We don't really need to do that with downstrokes because the motion itself is very quick. As soon as you play the note, the stick just stays down. So we're good on downstrokes. Upstrokes, we've got a slow upstroke. Some of you might not do upstrokes the way that I do, and that's fine. I like to bring the hand up and then turn the wrist to get the bead up. That's what in the United States, at least, we call that the molar upstroke. A guy in like the 1920s named Gus Moeller went around and interviewed a lot of our Civil War veterans and all the most proficient drummers that he could find. And he found that most of them were moving their upstrokes in that way. So he wrote it down and we call it the Moeller stroke. I can get in a whole thing into that, but just upstroke how you want to upstroke. But I try to take the entire amount of time before the stick comes down to play the upstroke. So I'll just play for you what I'd like for us all to play. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Join in when you can. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And really try to leave the bead down when your hand comes up if you're trying to do this molar thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last time. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's your slow upstroke. Now the quick upstroke, we'll just do the same thing we did with the rebound strokes and do 1 and 3 and, right? 1 and 2, 3 and 1 and 3 and 1 and 3 and. All right, so those are your slow upstrokes and your fast upstrokes. So if you can do all of that the way that you want to actually do it, then at the tempos we just played, you can play all of Paradiddle Madness like this tempo. Right? Because all like Dr. Wooten, John Wooten, my college professor, likes to say that, you know, rudimental drumming means to break drumming down into its like component parts, the rudiments of rudimental drumming. And then if you break those patterns down even further into smaller components, then that is the rebound stroke, the downstroke, and the upstroke. Some people consider taps to be a separate rudiment, but really taps should just be rebound strokes, but at a low stick height. So those are the 3 rudiments of rudimental drumming, according to Dr. Wooten and of course myself as his student. So that makes up this entire Paradiddle Madness. What we can take the next about 10 minutes to do is break down probably the first 4 variations on this page. So that'll be the first 2 lines of the first page. And so for the first one, you can start with your right stick up, and the pattern goes down, up, tap, tap, right? So if we start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap. Okay, so stopping there. Now you can see why I kind of ran us through doing fast upstrokes and slow upstrokes. This first one obviously is a slow upstroke. So while you're playing these taps on the right hand, you'll want to start bringing your hand up. And it should basically look like you're playing in slow motion, because you are. And that way, when you speed up the tempo, you don't have to change anything about how your hands are flowing. They just already have that flow built in. So if I were anybody, that's how I would approach this exercise, even at a slow speed. You can do this. You know, that's totally fine. If that's your comfort zone, and you need to do that for a while and then start mixing up the speed of these motions, then by all means do what you need to do to be successful at it. But that's the thing about this whole exercise is the devil is in the details. You know, I'm sure a lot of you can just sight read this whole piece at a certain tempo, but the hard thing is playing the appropriate motions. So let's go through that first variation again slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, tap, tap. Down, up, tap, tap. Down, up, tap, tap. Down, up, tap, tap. And you can even break it down like a rudiment, so you get faster as you're comfortable. Okay, so everybody knows a paradiddle. Okay, so we don't need to play a million of those. Variation, the first variation, I'm calling it variation 2. You start with the left hand up, and you play tap, down, tap, up. 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 Tap, down, up. Up, tap, down, tap, up. 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 And then you would just get faster and faster as your hands get comfortable with that motion and the sticking. And then move on to variation 3. So in this one, neither hand starts in the up position because the first 2 notes are down. So in a breakdown fashion, this would be up, tap, down, tap. 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 Okay, so this one really will show you, once you speed it up, it will show you your ability to play fast downstrokes, because the very next note after that accent is a tap. When you speed it up, you might find that you have a tendency to, right, play an accidental accent after that. So when you're doing it slowly, just get in front of a mirror if you can, and make sure that after the accent, you're not seeing your stick come up to any medium height, that it should come straight back down to tap height. Let's do that some more. Up, tap, down, tap. 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 All right, so now variation 4. Neither hand starts in the up position, and it's tap, tap, up, down. 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 So funny enough, the timing of this is on the 4th note of the pattern. So you would think that this one would be difficult, but this is the one that most people usually play pretty well. Because, as I said before, the most overplayed stroke in our art form, I think, is the downstroke. And that's what this is, but it's not a quick downstroke where you have another tap immediately afterwards. So even if you are holding it to a medium and then bring it down, you still have enough time. So most people probably won't have technical difficulties playing this pattern. Let's try it one more time. Tap, tap, up, down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap, tap, up, down. Tap, tap, up, down. Tap, tap, up, down. Tap, tap, up, down. Okay, so next, kind of once you go through the first 4, what you can do is slowly add those together. So you could put variation 1 and 2 together, and then put variation 2 and 3 together, and then 3 and 4, and then theoretically you should be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So the way that I work these patterns is the first 4 together, and then the next 2, so 5 and 6, and then 7 through 10, the next 4, and then 11 through 14, the next 4. And they get progressively more difficult, because then you're combining the strokes that you learned in 1, 2, 3, and 4, but you're adding the hands together. So on bar 7. The right hand would be the motion that you learned in variation 1, but the left hand would be the motion that you learned for the left hand in variation 2. So you're mixing fast downstrokes or upstrokes with slow upstrokes and rebounds and all of that, and that's where it gets tricky. So anyway, I know this wasn't incredibly physically taxing. We weren't playing notes fast. So I do appreciate everybody for joining in. I think we're almost time's up. But I just wanted to really reiterate the things that I think are important about the exercise and what I think will help everybody to get the most that you possibly can out of it. It's very easy to go through and kind of mindlessly get the accents and the taps in, but using the appropriate motion and filling up that time and space is the most important thing to me for the exercise. So I could continue to go on. Obviously, there's still a lot of work to do if we want to put this together. But if we end up doing another one of these that I lead, then I think we'll probably be moving a little bit quicker. And I'll just assume that people have worked out some of these patterns and we can start actually rehearsing it, taking a few lines at a time and starting to put some bigger blocks together. But I just wanted this first 30 minutes to be, real slow and letting everybody know kind of the details about the sheets. So again, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And I can check the chat now if there's any questions, or Lionel, or I don't know if anybody else wants to kind of wrap this up. Everybody good? Nice. Thanks, Bart. Can you play the whole thing? Sure. When I did the whole thing for the YouTube channel the other day, it took me about 10 takes to get correct. So maybe we'll get it on take 1 this time, especially without a metronome. So yeah, let me try to play it down. If you're familiar with the exercise, obviously play along with me. No point in me just playing it by myself here. No one around. All right. 2, 3, 4. right, so pretty much got through there. Had a few unnecessary downstrokes, a few quick upstrokes that should have been long, but overall fairly decent run. Damian and I picking the same accent pattern, but instead right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. So if any of you are bored with the paradiddle version, the normal paradiddle, and you want to play the inverted paradiddle with us in Portsmouth, then you're more invited, more than invited. Just let us know. It would be fun. But definitely, I would love to play Paradiddle Madness as written with as many people as possible. So yeah, I hope we do another one of these, and I promise we won't get bogged down. We'll actually start kind of looking at some other things and playing to it a little faster. So, all right, last call. Anybody want to do some shout outs? Well, I'm not actually hosting, so I can leave, but
is Ollie on here?
I know he had a meeting earlier, I believe, but yeah, he was here earlier. I may have
Cool.
put him to sleep.
I'll speak for Lionel and Ollie on this one. Scott, thank you very much for doing this. This is awesome. And I think the idea of bringing everyone together from around the world to talk basics and concept and how sticks move is something that's in the Seared mission. So I think the idea of sharing even the most basic to most complex and styles is really a great tool for all of us around the world. So Scott, thank you very much for your time this morning, and would love to do a second session. Everyone look in the Seared chat, also on the Facebook page and the website, because a lot of this stuff is being captured. We're trying to capture all of it so that it can be on the website that everyone can download and use as a resource, as well as looking forward to the next one. So we will have another one next week. Look for details coming out. So everyone stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for joining us this morning.
Awesome. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Scott.
Yep.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Scott. Was awesome. See you next week.